Welcome back to another episode of Net Talk. Blast the microphone with our voices into your ears.
On your leisurely drive.
On your leisurely drive. Yeah, to Dandenong.
Yeah.
Now going into round 3.
Yeah. I'm Mitch.
I'm Alex.
I don't know. It's 50-50 between you forget that or I forget that.
So 100% chance of forgetting it.
Almost every week.
Yes.
Slay and shame, though, before we do anything else.
No, yeah, stay away from volleyball-related stuff for 1 minute, although it is still volleyball-related.
All of these except one.
Yeah, because my slay can be a thank you. I've written it down. A thank you to Cobras for helping me get out of my rut by letting me play well on the weekend, giving me a couple open nets here and there, you know.
Did you actually put the ball in, though?
I actually didn't hit many kills to begin with. I was just like playing good balls, but didn't really hit many kills. And then got into the game. Was a bit happier. We played well. Good out of our rut. Sorry to the young team. They looked pretty good still.
But had to humble them a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't even there, but this is what I
got benched again, but this week for good reasons of being able to rest.
You weren't even working that hard. Sure.
Yeah, sure. So that's good. That's a good slay. Out of a rut, 1 week rut, that's okay.
Yeah.
Nipped it in the bud.
Up from here.
Hopefully it doesn't come back. My shame can be to Mitchell Broom. Again, for those of you that remember a few weeks ago, Mitch forgetting, I go all the way to his house, pick him up, drive him here.
Normally, well, okay, for the first 30 episodes of the podcast, I remember picking you up.
Yeah, true. Very true. But now.
Yeah, now roles reversed.
But get here again, sit down.
It's only happened twice.
Open the bag. No, it happens, 2 times too many.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Opens the bag. Oh, no laptop. No laptop.
Go all
so
the way
I have
back.
to go all the way back. It's a pretty big shame, but pretty funny.
Yeah. It's also like a 6-minute drive.
6 minutes out of my day. I'm a uni student. I've got an assignment that I have to finish by tonight.
But then you slept until 10:30.
No, I was up.
At 11.
Working from the bed. That's your most productive space. Most productive minute is the 5 minutes you wake up.
Fair enough. My shame can be I did forget the laptop. But then my additional shame is for you because there was a bus in front of us on the way back and it had its left indicator on and there was a turn coming up. So Alex goes behind the bus going, yeah, I'm going to turn left. Didn't realize that the bus was actually stopping at the bus stop. So we're just sitting there for 2 minutes.
The bus stop is 5 meters shy of the corner too. So I'm just sitting behind going, oh my God, why is this bus not going?
And we both looked at each other. I was like, that's why.
Yeah, very funny.
But it was quite funny. The other shame can also be for my tardiness today is all the camera batteries are dead. It's we had to sit here and wait for one of the batteries to charge. Oopsie! It's not been a very productive day. Well, I hope it's been productive for you, but it has not been productive for me. I woke up late, didn't really sleep. This is why my brain's not working. I'm forgetting all these things. I didn't sleep. That's a common theme at the moment.
Mine's been productive. I've just been staring at screens all day. So it just...
No, I meant me not sleeping.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like every episode it's a Monday and I just happen to just not sleep on the weekend.
Lovely.
Yeah. Slay can be for the Eastside men's team on the weekend for almost proving Alex and I very wrong about the Heidelberg game.
Though.
Yeah, didn't quite get it done. But we did throw some shade out that we thought that game was going to be 3-0. But you'll have to stick around
to hear
what exactly.
But we're saying that they nearly proved us wrong.
They nearly proved us wrong, but it was entertaining.
Wow. If they'd won 3-0, maybe they'd be getting their 40-minute deep dive.
Yeah. The first team to win against Heidelberg will get a 40-minute deep dive into their team's history and all that sort of. We can make that bet on air. That's fine. I don't mind that. National and local scene. So we put the word out to everyone to send us in some interesting storylines across State League, and we got one.
We got one.
And it was interesting.
In the Reserve 2 men's.
Yeah.
A very interesting scoreline.
This is you've almost doubled your amount of sets played with this score, with the points.
Yeah, it's rare to see sets go this high consecutively.
Do we know if... Yeah, it is rare. Do we know if Volleyball Victoria has a record of highest sets played? Because this would have to be up there.
It would have to be in competition for it, yeah. I'm trying to think about like the highest I've even seen at P1, and I don't think I've seen anything go to.
I reckon we've been to like
scoreline.
32 once.
Yeah.
And I reckon it was against like a Monash or
So the score line between Alliance Volleyball Club and Derrimut Knights, 40-38, 33-31, 25-23.
And you in the Discord, you're like, oh, still 3-0.
Still 3-0. Still looks like 3-0 on the
Yeah.
ladder. So why'd you waste all that time for, you know?
Yeah. That is almost, you've already played almost more points than 5-setters just with that.
Oh,
But well done to that. That sounded like a fun game. If anyone has some other, like, why was that game so close? Someone let us know. Yeah. Was it just 48 and 38, 40 and 38 service errors? Or like what, could no one serve in for that
maybe
long?
it was 20 blocks in a row.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
In the international scene, not much happening. Everyone's in their first or second leg of like semifinals, quarterfinals. We'll get to it. We'll talk about it. But the CEV Champions League MVP voting has opened up. You want to talk about that?
Like their all-star team is open for voting. It's actually kind of an interesting voting system. So there's 8 nominated players for each position. Obviously, only one setter, one libero gets selected, but you get one opposite, but you get 2 middles, 2 outsides selected. But the fan vote, I was looking at like the breakdown of what actually makes the final decision. It's 50% fan vote.
Oh.
And 50% team captain and head coaches.
Oh, so they have like a proper meeting and they submit
it says
their...
represented by votes given by Champions League team captains, team head coaches, which is also interesting to let the players have a
bit of a choice.
Yeah.
I almost laughed that it like wasn't that annoying corporate thing where it's like, 49% fan vote, 51% our vote.
Us.
Like,
Yeah.
But it isn't.
5% fan vote,
Yeah.
95% us. But it is interesting as well to think that like it's like, the 8 best setters is just everyone. Isn't that everyone that's in finals?
Everyone's starting setter.
Yeah. Which is funny, but then we looked and the
some of the teams
it's not there. Not there. So very interesting to see.
So when you say interesting system, you mean bad?
Yeah, well, it is also funny because you can see that, like, particularly obvious for the opposites on the men's side, they haven't played every game. They rest a lot, but like you can see, Carl Boutron is still nominated as one of the top 8 players.
Yeah,
but he has played half the amount of sets as everyone else.
Yeah,
on the men's side because he was resting for a little bit,
and that's the big thing. It's our critique of CEV this year, and I think they know that because they've changed it going to next year. But there is a lot of dull games where you can rest. If you're a top team, you rest a lot of your players.
Yeah.
So a lot of that stuff can be like really skewed.
Versus like the top scoring opposite on CEV is from Olympiacos, and he has played 52 sets, 14 matches versus like
a team that didn't make quarters.
But then you can still see
sense.
Jake Haynes being he's actually third highest scoring opposite, and he's played 8 matches. So he's played half as many matches.
That's wild.
But he's just a
MVP voting
scorer.
is always...
It's always funny.
It's always, the other interesting thing that happened in the international scene is the mighty Caneliano got upset by Navarra 3-0. So Caneliano obviously not losing a game all year. They lost 1 in CEV, but like in their regular domestic season, they didn't lose a game all year. They're in the semifinals bracket now, which is best of 5 series, and Navarra rolled them in this game. I actually watched it. Like one of the few matches I've been able to, oh my God.
Did it just look like they had good scouting and they seemed prepared, or just service pressure?
Honestly, it just looked like Navarra played exactly how they should play. Like they put pressure in the right spot, so they went after Zhu Ting on the pass, and it worked really well. They managed to slow down Gabby, but Zhu Ting is a bit of a passing liability in that team. So they went really hard after her with some really good serving and in some key moments, and they just came out on top. And yeah, it was an interesting game. Is it going to happen again? I believe I saw the score this morning of the round 2 was 3-0 the other way. So
Flip it back.
yeah, so I'm not too sure. I also feel like Caneliano didn't play that well, but Navarra just they rolled with it. They were like, all right, this is our time. Yeah. They're not playing that great. Let's capitalize on it, and they did. But the topic everyone wants to hear about. The Victorian State League.
The Victorian State League. You want to hear about yourselves.
We'll do men's round 2 results.
Yeah, starting from top to bottom.
Yep.
It's still missing our Michael Cirillo, our starting setter, still overseas. He was actually able to watch some SV League. So we'll have to ask him what the stadium and atmosphere was like.
Probably a bit better than Maroondah.
State League. Than Maroondah Nets at midday.
Yeah.
But we, the Melbourne University Renegades, got to play Maroondah Cobras.
What is normally a battle. Like, I feel like every year for the last 10 years that match. But they've got a new group now.
Yeah.
Not the old guard. They're all sort of gone. So I wasn't even there for this match.
Yeah, you missed it completely. Slack.
I was busy.
Yeah, but it was okay. It was pretty comfortable for us. It let us play our game. They just are still really young, but when they fire across the board really well. They have a couple threatening servers where just unfortunate, I wonder if there would be stats there from their coach, I'd ask. But they would get an ace and then it would be an error. And it's just you can't do that against an experienced team.
Well, a structured
patting
team
ourselves
like us.
on our back.
Yeah.
But it was good to try and after a loss round one, you kind of go into it still expecting them to fire and do it. And they had some interesting things. I actually wanted to note as well, they have a really experienced libero.
Yeah.
Played in positions out of 6 sometimes.
Yeah.
Which caught me off guard because not a whole lot of men's teams do it.
We did
there are a
see
few
an
on the
AVL
international-
on
yeah.
the women's side
Yeah,
quite a bit.
yeah. But it's also funny in my head. I was thinking about where we're swinging, and I was like, if I was young and playing defense on a team, I would like structure. But they all seemed to cope really well about being in different spots. I guess they've done a lot. at
Probably
training,
train
but
that way, yeah.
Yeah, but that was good. It was a good game down at Maroondah Nets.
You didn't actually say the scoreline.
3-0. Sorry, guys. It'll go the other way in a year. Don't worry.
Oh, come on. Give it 3.
Yeah, okay.
You're being generous. I'm being not so generous.
I'm just factoring in my steep decline. Probably.
It's going fast.
Yeah.
The next game, which is the one that I didn't hear about until looking at the score, and I was like, oh my God, what is going on here? I genuinely thought VB may have mucked up this scoreline.
As a few people have said, there's been a few typos going into the website.
A little bit, but that's all right. They've all been rectified. So Heidelberg and Eastside, we joked that this would be a quick one. And I was there for the first set and it was close, but it looked like, I think anyone who's played Heidelberg and not had a great game against them, sometimes it feels like they're playing with their food. And that was kind of the vibe. I was like, oh, okay, Heidelberg got it under control. And I was coaching my P2 girls, saw them on my way out and I looked at the score. It was 25-22, but I think Manjot was setting and they were just, their usual selves.
Yeah,
right?
doing enough.
But then I look at the score and it went to 5 and I was like, what on earth happened?
Yeah.
Talk about easing the foot off the gas far too much.
And it's not a reverse sweep to get to 5. It's not anything. It was alternating who won each set. Heidelberg win the first set, Eastside second, Heidelberg again, Eastside fourth, and then you go to a 5th, which is normally Heidelberg would just all right, we dropped the set.
It's time to nip it in the bud.
Yeah.
Normally that's what that happened to us a few years ago when we took a set off them and they just demolished us the next 3 sets. We were like, oh, okay, they're back.
Okay.
But credit to Eastside. They took them to 5. They came up short in the 5th, but that's a statement and a half. Again, unfortunately, wasn't there for the whole match because I had to go coach my Prem 1 girls. So that's why I was on my way out of SVC. But let us know what happened here.
What did you do, Eastside? Let us know some insight into what you did. Stick hitters, middle.
Any strategies?
Bit of Carl Davison to the middle, maybe some Joe Rodder libroing, lots of defensive touches. Come on, give us some insight.
Yeah.
We don't have to play him for a little while though, right?
We didn't play him till round 9, I don't think. Yeah. Monash and Mazenod. Didn't hear much about this one. Mazenod took a set, so 3-1 to Monash. I heard nothing about this match, so I'm not too sure what happened. Score lines are relatively close.
Till that 4th set.
Till that 4th set, yeah. 4th set being 25-12. But every other set was 25-23.
Yeah. But Mazenod team's looking pretty solid considering their youth as well.
A lot of youth, which is promising for the league, except for the fact that Mazenod particularly is sort of a club that likes to send guys overseas.
Yeah.
So it can be a bit of a con in the sense that they develop these players, they're quite good, they go overseas and then
you don't really get them back.
You don't get them back after that.
They're going somewhere else and they're staying overseas.
Yeah.
And they have that funnel from a high school, which is helpful, but
not good for trying to build a franchise in a club where you're just consistently losing players. But, credit to them. Yarra Dandenong, you would have caught some of this after our match, no?
I went to watch you play. I went to watch you coach.
I thought that would have been straight after.
No, I was no, that was a bit of a wait. Our P1 women were playing at the same time as Yarra Dandenong.
Yeah, okay.
I did catch little bits whenever you watched a little bit, walked over. It looked okay. Yarra just looked pretty consistent, still missing a couple guys, unsure. But Dandenong still looked pretty nice. Bit smaller than previous years. I think I'm recognising a couple. The passer that played in the P2 grand final last year was on, and he looked really good actually. I've got to stop saying actually. I said it last week, Bess, and I was like, oh, he looked really good actually.
They
looked really good.
All these players.
They looked really good.
Well, the scoreline wasn't close, but it was. Considering Dandenong aren't necessarily a top 4 team playing what is Yarra, who's a top 4 team, to make it to 16 is pretty rough. 18's commendable. Yeah. Like Yarra are no joke. Obviously,
I said I'd give a shout out to Dave Pham sitting on the bench if he went on and ripped some jump toppies. I don't think. No, he didn't send me a clip, so it mustn't have happened.
Damn. All right. Damn. Shame. And then the last game of the day was VFAM versus Latrobe.
A game we were interested in sort of watching as the two
we did say last week teams. We wanted to see how Latrobe bounces back from 2-0 loss of the first week, and they bounced back well. They took it to 5 and they won.
Yeah.
I did not see any of this because it was the same time as my women at a different venue, but the score lines are it wasn't a reverse sweep. It was generally set for set. Yeah. And then the 4th and 5th both going to Latrobe.
Yeah, good. I'll have to ask some of those players about like
what happened,
what they're doing, but they sounded nice. I did get a little bit of like insight of like just didn't go much in depth. It was just like, it was a really good game. Like it's good to get a win as a new club. Well, in the top division in round 2,
it has to be commended quite heavily because you and I have been playing for quite a while, and there's actually been a lot of teams that come up into Prem 1s and they don't see a win sometimes for years. So there's a couple teams I'm thinking of that didn't get a win for many years in Prem 1. So it's something to be commended that you've come back round 2 after getting beat by a good Phantoms team and then go, we're going to go out and
maybe it was the fact that you didn't have to drive to Bendigo to play a double header.
That drive is killer. I reckon every year we make that drive, we lose.
Yeah, never works out well.
Moving on to the women's side, what I think a lot of people, including myself, thought was going to be an interesting match.
Turned out a little bit one-sided.
I wouldn't say a little bit. I would say a lot. So Yarra showed up for this. Heidelberg seemingly didn't, although to give Heidelberg credit where credit is due, they were missing 2 of their main players, 2 of their main passing players too. And when your strength as a team is probably having a really, really good experienced setter in Mary and having some pretty good middles to rotate through and flicking the ball out really fast, not having passes to not give Mary a chance to do that probably stings quite a lot. And it showed in this game against Yarra where Yarra just took it and run 25-13, 25-19, 25-10.
Yeah.
So a rough day in the office for Heidelberg, but they got the bye this round, and I'm sure they're regrouping at training and figuring it out. They can probably sit there and go, we're missing our 2 main players. But I do think the conversation of how much depth do we have maybe has to come into that.
Probably a fine time for it to happen at the beginning of the season. You get the whole season to wind yourselves up to play them again.
And they're also, they have a good mix of young and old. They've got good experienced players, they've got good young players, and this would be a good teaching point for some of those younger players that got a run in this game with, James and Ruby are both young as anyways. The whole team's super young. So, well done, Yarra, for just getting out there, getting it done, because sometimes that can be hard to do when the other team is missing some players and you sort of are mentally aware of that and you can drop your standard a little bit. But well done to them for just getting out there.
What we may have heard in the next game was Dandenong VIP, Dandenong women winning 3-1. I think you heard a little bit that they did just
fall asleep
and
in the second set.
In the second. But then in the third, they were
woke up.
obviously a bit grumpy with themselves because that one was 25-6.
Yeah, that
Might be one of the bigger margins we've seen in a set for a little while. The other 3 sets were relatively close, but like
25-6 is a statement.
that is I'm pissed. I'm hitting 100 balls through the middle and through the stick. We're not easing up at all.
Yeah, no.
After falling asleep.
That's a proper response. I got told that they fell asleep in the second after winning the first set 25-17. Probably not an excuse to fall asleep. Yeah, like that's still fairly tight.
Yeah.
25-6 though, that's a hell of a response. And then they got it done in the fourth, 25-20. So good on them. VIP proving that they can upset a top team if they, if you give them the chance, they will go out and do it. So good on them for proving that. Rough in the third set though, but it happens. So who's next?
Your match. Little bit of a sore spot.
A little bit. This was a good match.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's denying. I think if anyone watched all the matches on the weekend, I think they could fairly say that this was the best match to watch. 5-set with Cobras, we came up short.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest thing for this is like both of these teams. It's weird because it's like my team as well, but this was a very momentum heavy match. The score lines weren't necessarily close because it was one team would take momentum and then the other, it would swing the other way. So it was 25-13 and then 25-19, then 25-17 and then 25. So the 4th set was really tight with 25-22 and then 15-11. And like you were there, you can probably agree that it was very momentum based.
Yeah, each team was like firing at all sticks.
Or wasn't. It was
wasn't.
one of the two.
Yeah. Like because Maroondah was getting a lot of blocks and good block placement and stuff. And that was when they were firing. Then they sort of lost it, got a couple more block touches and whatnot.
Yeah.
And couldn't finish it, couldn't return an aggressive ball back.
Yeah. And this is probably a lot of nerves going around, I think, with our team because this was our first match. This is Cobra's second match as a new team. So it's like the battle of maybe a little bit of like which newer team connects and beats past the nerves a bit faster. But yeah, this was a good match. I am still dealing with the loss. I really thought we could have done it. Well, we definitely could have done it, but just didn't take our opportunities when we had them. But it was a good match nonetheless. VFUM versus Latrobe is next.
3-zipper.
Yeah. This is a fairly big scoreline as well.
Yeah.
25-11, 25-21, which was a close set.
Yeah, VFUM women being a solid team.
And then 25-13. Me knowing the VFUM team fairly well and knowing Latrobe being a new team in the league, VFUM's hard to play against because they just don't make errors. They just get digs and they put the ball on your side and they force you to make errors. So I feel like as a new team, that can be really tough to play against. So yeah. You got anything else to say about that?
Don't know enough about those teams yet. I'll get to see them.
Don't really know the Latrobe team. I just know that they're fairly young.
I mean, I've seen a bit of VFUM over those preseason tournaments, finals last year. They look stronger and stronger.
And then this match, the last match of the day, which I thought could have had the potential to be a good match. Monash just took it and ran. Monash v Mazenod 3-0. I was asking the question on whether Mazenod could put enough service pressure on Monash, and it sounds like they just couldn't.
Yeah.
They're just too good of a passing side, and even if they don't pass that well, they are
a good out-of-system side. They have good stick options.
They got very, very good stick options. Yeah. So this was 25-18, 25-12, 25-17. So Monash really proving that they don't let up even after winning, because some teams like Dandenong, they do.
Yeah.
Not to throw shame, but like it is noticeable that this scoreline gets worse and worse and worse for Mazenod as the game progressed. So good on Monash for being very disciplined and consistent in this match. I'm a bit scared because knowing Mazenod probably feeling like, it's 2 3-0s in a row, they're going to be really heated and we play them next.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yay, fun for us. All right, we'll take a quick break and listen to the sponsor for this episode. This episode is brought to you by Andor Financial.
Now, as some of you know, a good friend of ours, good friend of the show, and our Melbourne Uni Renegades captain, Michael Cirillo, has recently started his own mortgage broking business.
Not only this, but Mike and Andor Financial have committed to supporting and sponsoring Net Talk for the indefinite future.
If you didn't know, Mike has spent the last 10 years in the finance industry in both financial planning and mortgage broking roles, and is super passionate about empowering people to take control of their financial future.
So you, or if anyone you know is in need of a home loan or would like to review their current lending situation, reach out to Mike and Andor Financial.
You can find out more information in the footnotes or description down below.
Thank you again to Andor Financial for sponsoring Net Talk. And we're back. Whoa.
Whoa. And whoa.
Round 3. Start with the women.
Looking at going to round 3, we can start with the women, opening us up at La Trobe University. I don't think there's been any premier games out there.
Is this at
For a little
Bundora
while.
or is this at Churchill?
Unsure, because when you click on the stadium, it takes you to the games.
To the games and stadium. I hate that. Yeah.
Someone will figure that out some week. But La Trobe versus Monash will be a tough one. Hopefully they've looked at each other a little bit over the first couple of rounds.
It's in Bundora, which is nowhere near as far as Churchill, which is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. It's the better option.
La Trobe, rough.
Couple
They played
weeks.
Phantoms, V Farm, and now Monash.
Monash.
That's a tough start to the season. Good luck, I guess.
Prove us wrong over there as well.
Yeah, Port Eastside. Well, almost prove us wrong. But prove us wrong. Yeah, see. Next one, Phantoms versus Dandenong. I am very curious about this match.
Yeah.
And if anything, I think this will probably be the match to watch.
On the women's side next week, yeah.
I only have one question about this, is because Eliza Cully-Hines has played the first round. So I'm very curious to know whether she plays this match. If she plays this match, I think it will be very interesting to see her and Janelle, who have very similar play styles, go against each other. If she doesn't, I think it's a little less interesting because Eliza Cully-Hines is an amazing player.
Yeah.
But it will still be interesting nonetheless.
Yeah.
And then it's us. Mazenod and Renegades.
At Mazenod on the nice court.
True.
Nicest court in State League, I reckon.
I agree. It just has no stands for spectators.
Yeah, not a whole lot of room around it, but
But it is a nice.
the roof's high enough. It's the nice.
It's a nice
floor.
soft go floor. Yeah, it's good. It's good on the knees. Cobras and VFUM. I'm curious on that one as well. I think that'll be a good matchup. And then
At Maroondah again. Maroondah with 2 back-to-back home games essentially.
well, it is their home venue.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. And then VIP and Phantoms. So Phantoms having the double header, playing VIP later that day at SVC. Heidelberg have the bye. Again, probably works in their favour, I think. Not much to say about this. I think the best game on will hopefully be that Dandenong and Phantoms game. I think is probably the game to watch.
If we jump over to the men's side, we'll be opening up your morning at 11 a.m. Yeah, we are. We're also at Mazenod, so that's why I like that court.
True. Yeah.
Renegades versus Mazenod on the men's side at 11 a.m. I'll be zipping over from a junior game, so hopefully handing it. Hopefully, if the juniors get it done in 3, maybe they can actually do that for me this week.
Don't worry
Shout out
about
to
it. I can actually play this game. This
Damn
is
it.
one of the 3 games all season I can actually play.
them. Oh, I can just stay there.
You could just don't worry about it. I'll play it. Don't worry.
Yeah, so I'll
Although-
be running over.
Although I won't be training this week because I got some stuff on, so maybe we will need you to. I'll be rusty. Yeah.
Second game of the day, Heidelberg Yarra.
This is probably going to be the game to watch.
Yeah, semi-final rematch from last year.
And I think Yarra were the first team in State League officially to upset Heidelberg before we did last year. Because the year before that, they won in 5.
Oh, true. So
So
I
I
was
think-
like, they didn't win last year.
No, the year
But-
before that,
yeah.
they won in 5.
Yeah.
A bit of history between these
Yeah.
teams. This will be a good one. This is peak prime slot. What if you want?
Yeah,
midday slot.
They'll both. I think they should hopefully all have their full teams playing and everyone there.
Yeah. It's at midday. Maroondah Nets though. Maroondah Nets is good. It's maybe better at SVC, but
They're on the back one though.
they are on the back one.
V6 is back one.
Ah.
So because Maroondah is a long stadium, the
Yeah.
show court is the best one. It has heaps of seating.
Yeah.
Good little area to watch. The lighting though is
Not
a little
great.
frustrating on that front court because it has the windows there.
It's a little frustrating on the
Every now and
backcourt
again.
too because the lights are like grouped weirdly on that backcourt.
Yeah.
But
Slightly better. A little bit more.
we can only make so many
A
excuses.
little bit more mood lighting in that backcourt, you know?
True.
Romantic.
Sure.
Sorry. I'm the only one that gets it. I get romantic on that backcourt, don't I?
Sure. Yeah. I don't think. Trying to think of a time we've lost on that backcourt. I don't think we have.
2 seasons ago.
When?
Didn't we lose Cobras 2 seasons ago?
No, that was our 5-setter when we beat them and they had Sando.
I thought we lost in that when there was a little bit of a tough tussle with the linesman. What year was that? We lost that
That was
match.
the year before. That was the year the season got cancelled.
We lost that match.
Yeah, we did lose that match. You're right.
There was a little bit of a kerfuffle.
Bit of drama in that match. That's a throwback.
Yeah,
to the
that's a
past.
throwback. That's
Yeah.
where my brain went.
And then back at SVC, we got Dandenong and Phantoms. This will be pretty good to just sort of see how Dandenong respond with some of those new guys in their team to Phantoms. But Phantoms are going to be pretty tough to beat, I think, this year. Like most years. Even though they don't have Sando, they'll still be really tough with Scotty there. And then Eastside versus Phantoms later that day, also at SVC.
Phantoms get the double header.
Yeah. Which is like fair. They drive this, may as well play 2 games.
Yeah.
Can Eastside get the win? Can they pull a big upset? I don't think that's not a bigger upset as a beating against Heidelberg.
Yeah, but maybe they should have some confidence. They should be in form.
They should be feeling pretty good about themselves.
On playing a team on the second leg of their back-to-back is also not too shabby. Like,
It's
that's
a decent
nice.
advantage, yeah.
Because I hate managing that slot of the day because you're playing a midday, you're going and having some food, and then you're back to play again.
Yeah.
But you can't really do that much in a 4-hour
And it
in a
doesn't-
2-hour break really because you're 12:30, you finish
Yeah.
at 2:30, your game's in 2 hours.
And it doesn't really feel the same as like tournament volleyball, where tournament volleyball is like your body's used to doing that for the day. But like in state league, it's like big match, small break, big, like it's, I don't know, it's hits differently.
On going into round 3, I've got some questions for you.
All right, yeah, go.
What are you feeling as a coach if you're like sort of haven't got your win yet or you're sitting sort of because the ladder's shaking out? Are you changing anything or just in general, not necessarily for your team specifically?
I think the biggest thing for me, especially as a new Premier 1 coach, because I haven't done it before, I've sat on the bench of games and coached from that perspective, but it's not the same.
No.
Don't ever think that is the same because my heart was racing the entire match. And it was a 5-setter, so I was fatigued and I didn't even play that day. I think the first thing that I learnt is talk to your players more, I think. Like, because I had this perception on what the game was feeling like in certain moments, but then I spoke to my players afterwards and some players on the court were like, no, I was exhausted, I needed a break. And I was like, okay, I should have asked that question and not assumed like, because our team, we've had our culture values for years of like, if you're a starter, you're expected to play 5 sets because that is, against a good team, that's what will happen. Whereas these girls are so new to it and so fresh. I legitimately had a player who has not played Prem 1s before who started the game and played the entire 5 sets. And I probably should have stopped to think like, oh, she is probably pretty gassed.
Or needing a mental reset for the pace of the game at P1.
Yeah, and when I looked at the footage painstakingly and relived the moments, there was a lot of mental errors, not necessarily physical errors, and that's probably and people probably listening to this probably realize that they've had this happen to them or done this. Coaches will do one of 2 things, and you only notice it when you lose. You don't give a shit when you win, when one of these things. Coaches either change too much or not enough. Those are the 2 feedback points for most coaches, right? Like you and I have sort of been in that where it's like, did we change enough after a loss? Or after a loss, it's like, did we change too much? When we win, it's like, no one thinks about that.
Yeah.
But you sort of start asking questions like, because in my P2 game earlier that day, they lost in 5 as well. So I had 2 5-set losses as a coach on that day. And I sort of asked the question like, I think in the Prem 2 game, I changed a little bit too much, even though we did have the 2-set advantage. So I went into my Prem 1 game thinking like, all right, it is Prem 1. We are expected to do this a bit more. I did leave the girls on maybe more than I should have because I do have quite a deep team and I didn't lean into that as much as I probably could have. So that was a good learning point for me. But overall, I am not feeling too bad about it.
Yeah.
I was feeling really shitty about it right after the fact, but like fair enough. I think everyone was.
Because it would feel nicer to win at the beginning. Same as on the men's side, we lose round one.
And it's like, do we really start our season like this?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm feeling okay about it because when I was watching the footage, the one thing I noticed is that when we're, and the girls will know about this when we go to training on Thursday, but when we put the ball in a position where our setter can set where she likes to set, as opposed to putting the ball in a position where she has to set somewhere, we look really good.
A little less predictable.
Yeah. And as soon as our main setter and our backup setter, as soon as either of them get to decide between three options, Cobras didn't have a chance.
Yeah.
But it was our ability to put and most teams will be in that position, but like from our serve, from our free ball reception, from our defensive ability to read certain things, we didn't take care of the first ball. When we did, though, it was really good. So I am optimistic. I'm feeling good about it. It was their first game, new coach, new team, new goals, all that sort of thing. So, and someone said this to me. She's like, you didn't lose in 3, and that's okay. And I was like, that would feel much worse. So, fine. How are you feeling about it with your juniors?
Good. I actually felt a lot better. A couple of them laughed at me. I feel better after their game on the weekend. They won 3-1, but dropped a set. But I don't even think about dropping a set really as a negative. It's just like a learning, working out how to endure stuff when it's going wrong.
And you get to make changes.
Yeah, gave me an extra set of game time, to play and do some other things. But it was a really good game. And it's still so early in the season. Players are absent on the weekend or back. And it is this is something we're navigating as a club, a difficult time because of school holidays. One of our venues is closed. So they're actually not. They're always one training a week, but some of them have been tagging along to another session, but now they are
one a week. Well,
and their schools aren't training either.
Yeah.
Some of them.
And the whole club goes to one session a week. And some, as much as that is a bit privileged to say, because some clubs genuinely only get one training a week. Yeah. But from a club that's used to structuring like that, we can take a bit of a hit. But yeah. You guys have been doing it for a little bit now.
Yeah.
You guys will be fine.
It changes how, I'd love to hear how people are feeling around the league about where they are at, where their team's at, if they're optimistic.
Knowing that it's early as well and knowing maybe, and this is something that is evident with me sort of taking my first look at Premier 1 women's volleyball and not my first look. My first look as a coach, and I think that's important. Like through the eyes of a coach is always different through the eyes of a spectator.
Yeah.
Certain teams get hyped up quite a lot to not be that good.
Yeah.
And other teams don't get hyped up that much to actually be really solid and tough to beat.
I think there is a really good feeling around the league that the quality is so high.
It is really high.
So that is the thing that you get to see and excited for is playing higher quality volleyball and more competitive matches and better players.
And that's the first thing as a coach that I forgot about, the difference between being a coach and a player. How many 5-setters have we played where you sort of go back and that was actually a decent match. It was a 5-set match and we lost,
Yeah.
Me as a coach losing a 5-setter, I was like, why do we lose that? But then as a player, all the girls are like, I felt good. I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, it makes sense. It's just that different perspective. And you're right. The league as a whole, the quality looks really good. Of course, it's still going to be pretty top heavy, but I don't think there's a team in either league that can really sit up the top there and go, we are unbeatable.
Yeah.
I think there are teams that can get up there and genuinely challenge them. And that's ultimately a league that looks really good.
Yeah.
It's not like we're in here and we've got a Corneliano situation. Although
they get upset. It happens.
Sometimes.
So that's why, there's a lot of motivation across teams, I reckon.
But it's looking really
Everyone
good.
can do it.
Yeah. So just a reminder to send through your storylines. Tell us what happened, and if you've got footage or photos, we'll try and throw it up. Not going to be a lot of clips this week.
Yeah.
Last week I had a bit of fun with although I couldn't find your double.
Didn't happen.
It did.
Nah.
I'll tell you what I did find though, and I might put it up this week. I don't know, because it's funny. Is who's in the audience been an opposite running across the baseline and a stray serve just hits you? Do you remember that happening?
Didn't that go into the last episode?
No.
Oh, I thought I glimpsed it.
Because I didn't mention it. So I was like, it'd be weird if I put it in and didn't mention it.
Yeah.
So I'm making a note to mention it now. So I can put it in if I feel
Pastor's fault. He ducked. I said in.
That ball was. It honestly looked like it hit the baseline and then hit you. I couldn't.
It just hit like low on my calf, but it definitely would have been like just a ball long.
Oh, okay. So you were in the wrong.
Yeah, I was in the wrong, but I called in. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter right or wrong. Gus actually said that after our game.
Oh, really?
It was really funny to hear. Like, doesn't matter if calls are right or wrong. We just need more voice and stuff, and it's just so funny.
Except your call is wrong 9 times out of 10.
50-50.
It's
50-50 shot.
Absolutely 9 times out of 10. I reckon I could hear
learned
it.
as a junior, okay, you just call in because you want to make sure everyone's tracking the ball to the baseline. You know, you just got to make sure people are making the right movements.
Sure, except for when they're passing a ball that's clearly out because you called in.
No, he ducked. Hit me. Let us know anything funny happen in your games. Let us know who at Checkers is letting Jose Martinez play opposite. Who's letting this happen?
Yeah, who's the criminal that needs to be spoken to intensely about letting that man play opposite?
Oh, I saw some highlights. He looks good.
He
It's
actually-
scary. Hopefully he never comes back to Victoria or he'll take my spot. Stay over there.
Nah, come back.
Yeah,
on.
come back.
We need a bit of pizzazz about us. Again, I miss having Jose. Funny enough, we actually tried to put him as opposite that one year he played with us.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
A couple of times. We did that with all the middles. Nemo played once and slotted in.
Noah played opposite once.
Yeah.
We tried with Jim as well. Treb and Sean will get their turn.
I'm the only middle that successfully made that swap.
Because you were terrible at middle. There's a
Middle
difference. There's
/
a
pass
difference.
hitter / opposite / libero. Let it happen.
All right. Thanks for listening this week. We will come say, we're both going to be at Mazenod for most of the day. So it's probably not going to be anyone. Yeah. So definitely let us know what's going on at the other venues because we're not going to get a chance to watch anything. Not that we did this week anyways.
It's just so hard.
It is hard.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for listening. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Discord, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. We'll catch you in round 3.
See ya.